Hey, what's up? This is American Enlightenment Podcast, and today we will be going over the Jubilee interview with Amanda Seales. Amanda Seales is a controversial loudmouth, you can say, that is very opinionated and wrong 99% of the time, but likes to spew her opinions. And, she just comes off as ignorant, but I mean, hey, to each their own, right? So let's check this out. I haven't watched it yet today, so this should be pretty entertaining.
Matt
Sure.
Nuclear?
Matt Nuclear, yes.
Matt Nuclear, give me a better handshake than that. Let's
Thank
do
you.
it.
I
All right.
appreciate having this conversation with a beautiful black woman like yourself. This is nice, beautiful arena here. I disagree that reparations are necessary. I think the most important thing that's necessary right now for the black community would be the stopping of violence, especially black on black violence. I don't see how reparations is going to solve anything. You can give everyone here like a $50,000, especially people that are in the streets who are.
So you see how she sighs right in his face. That's how pompous she is. She doesn't care what you say, really. She's going to try and shut you down. You can be right, and she doesn't care. She's going to roll her eyes and act like she's the only person that knows the answers to everything, right? It's pretty bad.
Are committing violent crimes consistently, a $50,000 check, it's not going to fix anything. It's not going to increase the median household income in the next 10 years by 10% or 20%. For example, we had the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. We prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them and basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that black people kill each other, according to the FBI?
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
Statistics lie all the time. So let's start.
So you're going to notice that statistics lie all the time unless she's speaking on her statistics, right? The things that she's seen are going to be matter of fact, and those are right. Like, you might be wrong, but she's right. No matter what she says, her statistics and her websites and her resources are the only all-seeing eye. They're the only ones that actually matter, okay? So you'll notice that throughout this conversation. Like I said, I haven't seen this, but I've seen her in other interviews. She's going to act arrogant even though she's wrong. I promise.
There, particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way. So if you're going to start your argument on stats don't lie, you've already lost the argument. They lie all the time. One, comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
I don't believe that happens at all. No one here is in.
Are you acting right now? Do you really believe
I'm telling
this?
the truth. There's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in America.
And he's black. And I appreciate the honesty because that's really all I ever ask from any human being. I don't care what color you are. Just be honest. Don't follow the leader. Don't be a sheep. You're people, not sheeple.
What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western Washington, for example, has been trying to segregate dormitories, using black-only dormitories because black people feel safer amongst each other. But they're more likely to kill each other than white people are ever to kill them. That's just the truth. You have King Von rapping.
And when it comes to stuff like this, what if a black kid wants to stay in the dorm with the white kids, right? Now he doesn't have a choice. I mean, that's crazy, right? You can't speak for everybody. It's each individual. That's crazy.
About killing other black men. Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when black men are more likely to kill me?
Oh my
Tell
God, this is scary. You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check that now. Okay. So on a basic level, we have to understand that systemic racism is grounded in the realities that black people have not been considered an equal human being in this country since its onset. So there's simply no way to make the argument that there isn't systemic racism, and we have seen in very clear ways the system operate in an organically racist way. Do not cut me off. When we talk about systemic racism, we can start with even the fact that redlining, which was implemented to discriminate black communities. Are you shaking your head that redlining doesn't exist?
No, I'm saying I don't think it really.
You see what I mean? There's no disagreeing with her. She's going to disagree with every single point that every single person makes but not her. She's only right. And I'm gonna tell you, and this is in no disrespect, she's one of the dumbest human beings I've ever heard speak. So it's very interesting where this kind of fake, pompous, arrogant entitlement comes from. I don't know if it's just her privilege from where she's from or what, but dude, that's crazy.
Existed at all. I mean, no, I don't think so at all.
So it does exist, and stating that it doesn't exist doesn't make it no longer exist. Redlining absolutely exists. It is not something that's being made up. It's an empirical fact, and there are realities that exist because of redlining. We know that school systems are related to the way that property taxes are affecting the school systems. If a school system is not getting the same property value as the property taxes allow it, then it's not going to have the same efficacy at allowing for students to.
So for people that don't know how this show works, so you basically, it's like there's a little timer, and then they kind of all race for that one chair. It's kind of like musical chairs in a sense, but you're not going in circles. And then they got to get to the chair, and if they get to the chair first, then they get to have the conversation, right? But then the people on the outside can vote. They have flags, and you can see them holding their flags up. Those flags is how you vote somebody off. So if they feel like maybe they got their back against the wall or they're not making very good points, they can just vote them off. Or maybe it could be something like Amanda's just speaking a bunch of nonsense and they're getting sick and tired of listening to her talk. They can just vote the dude off and make her shut up, right? So there's different ways to use the flags, but I can already see they're kind of getting sick of her and they're about to vote this dude off.
To be able to get what they deserve. When we talk about systemic racism, we have to acknowledge that these private prisons are literally built based on the test scores of school students in 3rd grade. So if you are literally building prisons with the onset of, okay, if these people are not reaching a certain reading level, then we know that they're going to go down a prison industrial pipeline where we can use their free labor, then how is that not systemic? And if you want to
stop them from entering prisons.
How are you going to stop people from entering prisons if your goal is to get them into prison?
Sure, make them try to be more like Ben Carson than be like King Von. That's very, very simple.
So how does King Von happen? How does King Von happen?
King Von.
That's a good point. That's a good point. All he's saying is it's, and that's what I always say about people. It's classism, right? Racism and classism are not the same thing, but people like to get stuff misconstrued and call everything racist. A lot of stuff's just classism. It's where you were raised at. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. If you come from, white trash and you're white and you come from like this downtown little podunk place in Mississippi and you're hella poor, then, you came from a bad environment, period. I don't care what color you are. If you're from Southside Chicago and you're black and you come from a bad environment, it doesn't really matter what color you are, you come from a bad environment. So it really comes down to classism for me. This is more about where you come from than who you are and your skin color. Like, that's silly to me.
Reparations. Actually, no, let me land the plane. Yeah. We're talking about reparations, and what you're doing is actually just trying to get this conversation off the facts. And the fact is, reparations are just and necessary because on a basic level, Black people built this country, and the country continues to thrive off of the labor that Black people put into this country. And it would behoove you, young man, to really understand the way that your ancestors put blood, sweat, and tears into this nation that is still living off of those blood, sweat, and tears. And let me also add, there are reparations and then there is remunerations. Do you know the difference?
Yes, but can I finish one point that I wanted to say?
Question.
Ben Carson.
See how pompous she is? She learned a big word, and now she's like, do you know what that is?
His cousins were killed at a very young.
I'm so sorry. You've been voted out by the majority. Okay. Please return to your seat.
I hope some of y'all are acting. I really do. We in LA, and I hope some people in here are acting. Oh, what's that on your chain?
This is a coin from Israel.
Lord have mercy.
Yes.
What does that even mean? You see what I mean? It don't matter who you are, what you're about. You could be polite, you could be nice, you can be a gentleman. It doesn't matter. She's going to have snarky remarks. She's going to be rude. That's what she does. I don't know who raised this girl, and I don't know how she ended up being so unlikable. I mean, for all I know, she used to be a decent human being at some point in her life, but not anytime in the last 10 years.
You gotta go.
That's a choice that you are making for yourself.
Yes. The thing with the whole reparations thing, and I don't know, we're probably close to the same age, so maybe you can't call me
How old are
mom.
you?
I'm 32.
I am 44.
Oh, really? Oh, you look young.
Thank you. That's what water and keeping stress out of your life will do.
You don't look good. You look very unhealthy. You look pale. You don't look good. You did look good back in the day, but you look crazy now. Don't listen to him. He's just trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Really? Liberal positions are real stressful.
By the way, I wouldn't know. I'm not a liberal. Carry on.
Well, it's a liberal position because
She is a liberal. She just does not want to claim that because she's like I said, people already look at her as not very intelligent. So if they attach that to her, it's going to make it worse. So she is running from that title. But anybody that's going to rather claim that they're a radical than a liberal, I don't know what to tell you.
conservatives believe in hard work. We believe in going to work and working for what you got,
Yep.
not asking for handouts
Right.
from people who never had slaves. Some of the people that you're asking for money from never had slaves. And let's talk about the fact there were also black people that had slaves. So if you want to talk about that, how is that fair? If I'm a white person and my family fall on the side of the Union, why should I have to pay for slaves when this whole country was never all racist? Some of the founding fathers were abolitionists, and they hated slavery. And they actually put things in the Declaration of Independence and things too, because they believed that there'll be a future where there.
See, I love that. I love that. You got to bring up all points. You got to bring up the good stuff and the bad stuff. We all know that racism and slavery and all that existed years ago. Okay. Do I think racism still exists on an individual level? Okay. On an individual level. Do I believe in systematic racism? Nope. Do I believe in individual racism? Yep. I think every race can be racist. And I think there's people walking around that are racist all over this country, all over the world. They just don't like people for weird reasons. I don't know why. People are weird.
There would be a black president one day, or that there would be people in leadership that were black. There was people in the North who helped with the Underground Railroad and fought with the Union. So why is that fair for people who never had slaves, who fought against slavery, to have to pay for people that had slaves?
One, from my understanding, you are more interested in preserving the fairness of those who didn't have slaves than the fairness of those who are the descendants of slaves.
That's an answer that I would expect from someone that doesn't have an answer. Okay. So if you're losing an argument or a debate with somebody and you have no idea what to say, this is usually how you answer it. You know, it's the whole answer a question with a question type stuff. They just want to bury what you just asked because they realized, I don't know. I have no idea. You're right. I'm wrong. And I don't know what to say. And I feel stupid. So let's change the subject.
That is priority to you than finding a fair way to accommodate those who have been the descendant of slaves.
Well, our ancestors wasn't asking for handouts. They were asking for equal opportunity. And we have equal opportunity in this country. We had a black president, just in case you didn't know. We had a black president and we had a black vice president. I mean, I think she was black. They said she was black. I don't know. So we had a black president, and you know who voted for that black man? White people, because you can't win a popular election in this country without white people. So Barack Obama is the product of white people. So let's get off this thing where, oh, America is so racist. What's making America so racist is people that continue to talk about racism and continue to focus on racism instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward. People that have this liberal mindset are infecting our communities.
100%. 100%. We can't throw a pity party for a whole life, right? Eventually, we're going to have to get to a point where we're just going to have to drop it, forget it existed. That way we can all get along and quit arguing over old stuff and trying to keep it alive. That's literally all liberals try and do, is just keep it alive. They want it to keep talking about it. They want it to keep affecting people. They want little kids to be born thinking that other races hate them for no reason. That's crazy. Get rid of that way of thinking. That's insane.
Black people and making us victims and not victors. I refuse to embrace a victim mentality because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal opportunity.
Do not bring up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby.
So, I mean, of course she's going to do that. Like, you already know. But do you know what you're talking about? I ain't think so.
Please,
They said the
Harriet
Lord's
Tubman.
name in vain.
Harriet
The
Tubman.
Lord's name.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah. You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
They were on the Underground Railroad. Said, come on in.
No,
come on
you know
in.
who helped her?
Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
God and
People who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things
It's a lie. White supremacy is a lie.
You see the look on that chick's face? She's like, what is she talking about? She doesn't know what she's talking about. She has no idea. She literally heard Harriet Tubman and she blacked out. And then she didn't know what to say. Because now she's just going to try and argue some kind of key facts that she doesn't really understand, right? Yes, white people helped. She's going to try to turn this into white people with power helped because white people were the only people that were able to help at the time, right? Sure. But we had to start somewhere. So I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't think anybody is going to be on the same page as you because you're loony.
No, sir,
It's
that's
a
simply
lie.
not
There's
true.
no such. I mean,
If that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonialism and white people placing themselves in positions of power when they do not have the power.
Because their
me hear
culture, black culture is toxic. The black culture is toxic. We have produced a culture that is toxic. And let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the black home. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Stop.
Let's talk about that.
She hates statistics. Anytime stats get brought up or facts, she gets big mad. Don't bring up facts around this girl. She only likes to live in her imaginary world.
None of this is gonna work if y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit.
It's
not gonna work. No, a debate has to be in facts.
See what I mean? She is scared of facts. If you bring facts up, she's screwed. She didn't come here to actually win a debate. She thought she was going to be able to talk to her brothers and sisters and turn them into ignorant people like herself. That's not what's going to happen. These are smart individuals that can think for themselves, and they don't need your help.
You're putting off emotional liberalism right now.
I am not putting off emotional liberalism. You're putting off unfounded lies
That's what y'all
based
do. Y'all
in
start saying
conservatism.
misinformation. Remember they
It
did the
is
misinformation thing all summer where everything
Look at
conservatives
this man.
did. They said
You're
misinformation.
carrying a chain around your neck of an apartheid nation that actively wants to harm black people and non-Jewish people. But let me bring it back. Let me bring it back.
And then she has to throw, I'm not Jewish. I don't care about all that, but she's going to bring that up. She's going to make this whole little Israel jab and start making fun of Jews. Why? I mean, do you like anybody, Amanda? Or are you just miserable? Like, the only person you like is when you look in the mirror and you're like, man, look at me. You're gross.
Black people
Let me
in
bring
Africa
it. That was not happening in the context that you're saying.
And they were selling
Let's
their
bring
own
it
people.
back.
Black people still sell their own people today too. By the way,
I don't know if I'm gonna last.
We're selling our own people today too.
I don't know if I'm gonna last.
You're not going to last. You're not going to last. I'd be shocked if you made it through this entire debate. You cannot have a debate with anybody. So I would love to see you make it through this. I don't think you will, though.
Probably won't last with me.
I won't because your ignorance is so overwhelming.
See, that's liberals. Y'all start name calling when y'all getting defeated in an argument. Calling.
You won't have an argument because you keep cutting me off.
Oh, well, that's fine if they don't let me come back up. I made my point.
You didn't make your point.
I made my point.
You haven't made your point. And let me just tell you about your point.
He destroyed you. I'd say out of everyone that's been up there so far, he absolutely handed it to you. That was embarrassing for you. That's why I can see why you were like, I'm leaving. Yeah, you didn't expect that, did you?
You started off saying, we believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And we believe in being compensated.
Reparations is not, though. Reparations is not hard work. It's stealing. It's Robin Hood.
You said you believe in hard work.
Yes.
And you believe in being compensated for hard work.
Yes.
Were slaves compensated for their work?
They weren't compensated for their work. But why should people who are sitting at home playing video games, smoking marijuana,
Are you sitting at home playing a video game? Are you sitting at home playing a video game?
The people that they wanted reparations for.
Am I sitting at home playing a video game? No.
The people they want reparations for.
I don't know who these people are that you're talking about because the majority of the black community is not sitting at home playing video games.
The majority of the black community is doing a lot.
And honestly, that's kind of an ignorant comment. I mean, you can't really just say, oh, all black people are home playing video games, okay? Like, when you come down to statistics and you talk about black fathers and stuff like that are like real stats, I'm on board. But if you're just taking jabs at a whole culture, I know you're black, but I'm not really with that. I'd rather people keep that kind of petty stuff out of it, because let her do that. That's what she's gonna do. She's gonna say the nonsense stuff. Let her just bury herself.
Statistic. Where are you getting that
things is not
statistic?
right.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
I knew I was going to be surrounded by ignorance, but damn.
So you see how mad she is already? Big mad.
Hello. My hand's wet from the bottle.
My hands are sweaty because
Okay.
I'm nervous. We both got sweaty
Got it.
hands. Okay. So I just wanted clarity because I think it'd be helpful. You said radical. I wanted just clarity on that. And then also with the reparations, you said it's not just money, it's other things. I just want to know, like, what do you see as like the grand picture of what would help?
The grand picture of what would help.
Of
what?
reparations, like what does that look like to you?
Oh, great. Reparations, what reparations looks like to me is a combination of reparations and remunerations. And reparations are about repair for damages that have been caused based on harm. Remunerations is a monetary response to work that has not been paid for. So if you come and paint my house and I don't pay you, you can take me to court and get remunerations for the work that you have done. So we're actually owed both in this nation as Black people. And there are incredibly
Amanda, what do we owe you for? What did you do? Oh, wait. What were you doing? Did you lift a shovel? What did you do? If you can tell me what kind of slave work you did, I promise you I'll figure out some way to get you reparations. But until then, no one owes you a penny. And I don't know what you're talking about.
just clear-cut records that show the buying and selling and purchasing of slaves, the work that was done, also the intellectual property that was stolen from slaves, right? Because there was so much inventing that was happening. And there is also quite a bit of other reparations that are being discussed as it relates to property being stolen, as it relates to, again, redlining and the inability for Black people to get loans, et cetera. And these impediments being solely based on their race.
As far as like discrimination.
Yes, like they're being solely based on their race, that not being about anything other than you're Black, so you can't, right? And so when it's very clear cut like that, there are very distinctive responses to that that can be done through a cash payment, as well as through measures that are being done to create funds for creating resources and responses like housing, like access to food, access to education, et cetera, that certain communities have not had access to because of the fallout from these things.
And I just had a quick question for clarifying. With the funds, I'm wondering, where do you think those should come from? Like the actual money, like is that we're raising money? Is it taxes? Like what does that look like?
Well, I think what they've been doing with these different reparations committees is they're looking at, all right, well, how much has this city or how much has this town or how much has this country gained from the estimated amount that was stolen from these people, right? So they're looking at like, what is this wage amount? For instance, like if you look at during that time, okay, what was the wage amount that a hired worker would get for this same work?
Okay, so listen, she's been brainwashed by some weird group of people that she's been hanging out with. I used to have a friend that had similar problems. We hung out, and his friends would give him a hard time and call me his slave master because I was his music producer. We were partners. We were 50-50. I never tried to charge him for anything. He was a good friend of mine. I consider him one of my best friends, but he was Black. I'm white. And so his Black friends would just make it into this Black-white thing. I've never been about that stuff, and I don't like it. So you can tell I get a little offended about that crap because I think it's bull crap, and I'm not like that. Anybody that knows me will tell you that. And so I don't really have a whole lot of patience when it comes to racism. I think it's evil. I think it's mean. And I think it's conniving. And that's so you can tell I'm not huge on Amanda, and this is why. I think she's a snake. And a lot of the stuff she believes in, I think, is just unethical. I think it's evil. And I think, like I said, I think she's a nasty person.
All right. And so we're looking at how was that wage not provided and what is that pool that is being created? And then we're looking at, all right, where can that wage come from in terms of how has that wage been applied? So there are spaces where this is very clear. I think the last thing that you asked about was the difference between liberal and radical.
Yeah, please.
Ultimately, the concept of liberalism is really just not Republican, right? I mean, that's essentially what it's become.
I would disagree with that, but I understand that's your stance.
There's a very generic concept of what liberalism is, in the sense that it's simply saying that I am a part of the bipartisan mind frame.
She doesn't know what it is. She's going to do like she does with everything that she doesn't know, because she doesn't know much of anything. She's going to make up an answer, but she's just going to be wrong again.
But I am not a Republican. It's a mindset. It doesn't always show up in action, but it's a mindset that says, I don't support extremes in certain ways, or, I want the government to show up in certain ways. I know there's a conservative point of view that says there should be less government, but even though it just says that, the action is very different. The radical mind state simply is living opposite to our colonizers, which is an imperialist, capitalist mind state, and radical blacks do not believe that is any way for us to have liberation.
Thank you for explaining that.
And thank you for being very respectful.
We were told to be respectful. We're not your enemies.
Thank you, my good sis.
Surrounded is now a podcast, available wherever you listen. Search Surrounded, plug in, and stay part of the conversation. Anywhere, anytime.
Big shout out to Jubilee. You guys do a great job. Everything I watch on your channel is fantastic. It seems to me that you guys try to be as non-biased as possible. The cut comes across as way more biased, so I definitely appreciate your guys' way of thinking.
My next claim is that black on black crime is a result of underinvestment and over-policing.
So you say that black on black crime is due to underfunding and over-policing, essentially.
Yes.
I actually don't necessarily disagree with one of those. Okay. I think that, however, the government, who do you think should be responsible for the funding piece of the black community? Should that be something that the government should step into, or should that be something that we as black people need to handle ourselves? Dr. Jordan Peterson and even Thomas Sowell and several others have stated one thing, that poverty and crime, there's a positive correlation.
You can tell by the names he just dropped that this guy's already going to know what he's talking about. Those are some well-educated men that he named, and they don't mess around. They only speak facts. So I don't think Amanda's going to stand much of a chance with this guy.
There's also a positive correlation in the black community of absentee fatherism being one of the root causes leading into criminality. Black males that grew up without a father are 10 times more likely to engage in criminal activity. And so I think
Can I put a pin right there and ask you a question?
Ask me whatever you like.
What is the root cause of there being less fathers present?
Bad decision making on the part of the fathers. We live in a patriarchal system. Like it or not, men have dominated the socioeconomic, economic, and political power of this country and the world since our existence. So our bad decision making is...
He's way too educated for her. This is going to be funny.
Especially when we focus on the black community, is the root cause of fatherlessness.
What type of decisions?
Not marrying the women we decide to lay down and have children with. Not being careful with the seeds that we plant in women. No woman can get pregnant without a man planting his seed inside of her. So therefore...
So it's marriage.
Well, that's a part of it. Marriage is a part of it.
Okay.
But the true piece that I'm looking at is connectedness between familial units.